Here is how the newly released Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 differs from the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Qualcomm has finally announced the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. The reason behind this new chipset is to give a great performance but for a lower cost when compared to its elder sibling. However, many people are still left wondering the difference between these two chipsets, especially when there is very little way of naming that can differentiate them. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 looks just as capable as its elder brother. So, how is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 different from the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3? That has been powering all the flagships currently in the market? Well, despite the similarities in the name, both chipsets have some differences, and we are going to take a look at all of them below. The simplest answer would be that the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is a cut-down version of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Qualcomm has claimed that it is made specifically for the more affordable devices that are still capable of delivering flagship-grade performance. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 comes with one less high-performance core when compared to its elder sibling. However, it is made by using the same fabrication process as its elder sibling. There are some differences, though. For instance, the flagship killer chipset has one Prime Cortex-X4 CPU core clocked at 3 GHz, 4 Cortex-A720 running at 2.8 GHz, and 3 Cortex-A520 CPU cores at 2 GHz. You can have a look at the table below to see how these two chipsets differ from each other. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 brings 5 performance CPU cores and 3 efficiency CPU cores. In comparison, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 has 6 performance cores and 2 efficiency cores. There is also a difference in the GPU used here, as the former uses an Adreno 735 instead of the Adreno 750. The Adreno 735 does not come with a global illumination effect. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 also has slightly underclocked RAM. The chipset can go as high as 24 GB of LPDDR5X RAM running at 4200 MHz instead of 4800 MHz of its older sibling. The ISP on the chipset is also capable of recording only up to 4K/60 fps video in HDR and does not have support for 8K/30 fps or 4K/120 fps video. Moving further, the new chipset is using the Snapdragon X70 modem instead of the X75 found in the bigger brother. This modem has a peak cellular download speed of 5 Gbps instead of 10 Gbps. So, there you have it. The new budget chipset is much like the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, but there are compromises. I do hope that these compromises did not translate into anything negative, but from the looks of it, that is highly unlikely. I believe that the chipset is going to be excellent for gaming and handling other day-to-day tasks, and you might not feel the difference all that much. With the chipset now out, we should start seeing phones packing this in no time, and we will be sure to give you all the information that we receive.